All right, everyone. Welcome to the Main Street Podcast episode number 10. I'm Greg.
I am Panda.
I'm Gogo.
I'm Peter. Hi.
I noticed that everyone starts to speak a lot shorter when they speak in English, but let's give it a try. Today the topic's about the shopping guide. So it's gonna be about like what to buy when traveling between Korea and the USA. So a lot of these are the same products, but it's somewhat different in terms of price. But not just only about the price, but also depending on the availabilities too. And so today, I suggest we maybe talk about just three things, and three things only. First is what to buy when traveling from Korea to the USA, and like vice versa from USA to Korea, and maybe just a quick discussion for us to share some opinions about if we have time at the end. So, just to give a little background about myself, and if I may, among ourselves, all of us have some experience living both in Korea and also in the US, and some of us have relocated back to Korea very recently. So I think this might be helpful for the audiences who might be interested in going to USA or coming back to Korea. Um, Let me kick it off. Please, jump in anytime if anyone has opinions or wants to share anything. So, just to give some lay out some ground. Like I said, that there are two categories I think we can talk about: the items that have price differences, and the item that differs depending on the availabilities. So, simply put, from Korea, as a Korean myself, I find that when I relocated to the U.S., I was concerned that what if my glasses gets broke? And in Korea, as you may know, the glasses are like super cheap. Even the fancy glasses, especially the prescribed lenses, those are a lot cheaper compared to the U.S. And also, it's so much more convenient to get those glasses. So, for example, when I go to like glass shop, I just go through very short, eye testing, and if I do have already have the prescriptions by the eye doctors, I forgot the fancy terms, but I can just give those to the shop manager, and I select my glasses, and I ask them, like, when should I come back? And if it were to be a regular local manufacturer glasses, it gets done in like 2 3 hours. If it's something fancy, the German glasses or whichever the imported goods, it takes probably like a couple of days or something. But that's it. Whereas in my experience, when I lived in the overseas in the North America, it took like 2 weeks at least, and the cost was ridiculously more expensive compared to Korea. And second, I was thinking that, like these days, it's a lot easier to get things in the US, especially with Amazon and other merchandise platforms. But still, some fine pens and papers and others, those might not be very cheap to get compared to the ones in Korea. And now, the COVID's kicking in again. And it used to be that the mask was such a scarcity. And in terms of price, the price in the US for this mask, for fancy ones, the price was skyrocketing. So depending on your circumstances and when you're traveling to the US, I think like mask can be like one of those items that can easily be forgotten, but also is good to buy.
I think the
Um,
pens you're referring to the Japanese pens, such as Signal, Zebra,
That's
or
street.
Mitsubishi. Those are the ones you would buy from Korea before you go to America, because in America you can still have access to these merchandises, but I think the prices are different, and then the types of products you're going to have, they're also very different. So I think if you want a top quality, what do you call stationery for writing, I think you just have to get it in Korea or in Japan and then bring them to America.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree 100%. And there are like certain pants that I'm fond of. So like for example, like very thin sort of stationary, I mean the pants, like Japanese ones. It's like a commodity almost in Seoul, Korea. But when I was looking for the same thing, on Amazon, it was either not available or super expensive. And I remember selling those back to my community in the US before I was coming back to Korea. And I was pretty surprised that a lot of people were, like willing to buy those ones, even at the prices that I thought was slightly expensive, not very cheap. But there's pretty like strong demand. So I think the stationaries are something that these Koreans or the ones that travel to Korea may want to bring back to the US. And also, in terms of availability, I think this is more of a out of a necessities that might be helpful for a lot of people. I wrote down there are three items here. One's health supplements. Second, antibiotics. I just also like to sure disclaimer that I'm not like we're not promoting that like you should get antibiotics for whatever the reason but I think it can be like super helpful on moving into the US and also of course some of the Korean snacks and crafts. But in terms of antibiotics, I just want to share a bit of my experience that when I was in the States, one time I was pretty sick. So I went to see a doctor and I was in line for very long. And I was thinking that I would see a doctor right away, just like in Korea. But I was consulted with, I think it's what's called like a registered nurse or something, and she was super helpful, but the process took like an hour. And at the end, the nurse gave advice saying that drink a lot of water, and and like come back next week. And I was feeling like super sick, so came back like the week after, and the nurse said, after an hour, like drink more water, but maybe let's run X-ray, and come back like a week later. So it's coming back, but I was getting like even more sick, like as time passed by. And in the end, on the third week, she was prescribing me, like a very low dose antibiotics. And when I shared this to this, my medical friends in Korea, uh, they were like pretty surprised, saying that that's sort of not the like protocols that the Korean doctors follow. So, and not that I'm saying that the doctors, the medical experts in the U.S. Were doing wrong, but I think that if I were to be equipped with at least a bit of a low dose antibiotics from Korea, if I could get those, I think it could have made my life a lot easier.
So if you are expecting a baby or if you're visiting someone who is expecting or who has a little baby, I would recommend to you to buy clothes or the baby handkerchief. Do you know what it is? Baby handkerchief. 100% cotton in most cases. Basically, it's not available in the United States, or the quality is not so great. I wouldn't say the quality is great. So at least Korean people in who is living in the United States would love it if you take some from Korea, because it's the ones from Korea is much more safer. I would say in terms of the material, and then the texture and the feeling is better, I think.
Oh, that's a great tip. And you said it's baby handkerchief.
Yeah, yeah. I've never seen any non-Koreans who use specialized handkerchief for baby. They just use anything. Personally, think the standard of hygiene is pretty higher among Korea compared to non-Koreans all in the world. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I personally don't have a baby, so I don't know much. In terms of like hygiene level, yeah, I can definitely see that Koreans or maybe like East Asians tend to be more cautious in terms of hygiene and the safety related hygiene for sure.
Even for the supplements product, as I know, the level of the acceptance of the supplements is much harder in Korea than the US. So my case, I prefer to buy some supplements product from Korea if they have the type of supplements. Overall, the facility quality and safeness is much better in Korea. And also, I wanted to add that the quality of the cotton is actually better. So whenever I visit Korea, I used to buy cotton socks because of the quality as well.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, well, supplements, I have a question. Maybe I can lay the question on next page. But yeah, in terms of, like quality of, like commodity clothes, I feel very similar that a lot of, the fashion goods distributed here in Korea tend to be pretty high quality. And I'm sure in the US, they could have the same quality materials for sure. But probably it is that the market is willing to have more of like a cheaper price, productions from some other countries that are most, that are cheaper, and the quality probably gets a bit worse. So yeah, I do agree that a lot of fashion items here in Korea tend to be pretty good quality. Yeah, go ahead, this.
We should add the Korean cosmetic, definitely.
Oh yeah. In terms of availability, yeah. Actually, I have two questions then. In terms of availability, I was actually really surprised that a lot of things are actually available in the US. So, for example, I shared that I was on antibiotics a bit being sick, but that time, one of my Mexican friend in the US, gave this product to me once, saying that, "Hey, Red, take Korean red ginseng extract and mix this with water. It's good for you, man." So I was like, "Yeah, that's amazing." But like, where did you get it? It's like the first one's like on Amazon. So I was like, wow, like this is something that I've been like having, like for a couple of years, and I really forgot to bring it to the US. But I was actually really surprised that even like Korean red ginseng extract is
Mhm.
sold on Amazon.
And the price level is also seems like similar to the Korean product. Usually the Korean
Yeah.
cosmetic is much expensive than Koreans. So even if I order from the Olive Young International, whatever, the cost usually expensive more than by 20%, kinds of 30%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so good to know. That was going to be my question of, you know, uh, maybe Korean cosmetics are available on, US website, but you just answered my question that it's a lot more expensive. I have another question to you specifically to Gogo. Um, it's about health supplements formed by a lot of Korean medical experts
Mhm.
saying that there's so many more like, varieties. There are a lot more health supplements in the US than in Korea. So it's not, quite like necessary to bring a lot of supplements to the US from Korea. First, because it is likely that supplements are there in the US and the price even, could be cheaper. But you mentioned that the manufacturing facilities in Korea for health supplements um, it tends to be a better condition compared to the US.
Oh, if the product's quality is enough, good, the price also expensive. But the average level of the product in Korea has at least some better quality. For example, if we compare to at the same price level, the quality of the Korean product is definitely better. For example, if you wanted to buy some multivitamins, if I select the Korean brands, it would be more better choice because within at the same price level, the quality is better. And also the benefit of the Korean products, they really made well mixed, well tailored product like combination of collagen and elastins with other vitamins, kinds of that. But usually US product is focused on individual gradients, individual just vitamin C separately, glycine separately like this. In terms of price, if they understand well about the type of supplements and how it was produced, buying a better Korean product would be smart way, I think.
That's interesting. Yeah. Good to know. Thanks for sharing. And maybe Peter had would perhaps like to share a bit of your experience. in terms of what you might have brought from the US and Korea that were good choice?
From Korea to US, I would definitely say food items because you would like some Korean food even in the US. We have pretty accessible H Mart product, but I think there's also price restrictions you're gonna face once you get there because it's way more expensive. So I think my recommendation is get as much as sauces or powdered products so that you can just use them for your food, for your cooking. You can just bring them from Korea. They're lightweighted, and then you can just use them for whatever purpose. And then whatever Daiso product you can find useful, you want to bring them to America as well because Daiso is very affordable. And then if you want to get the same type of items in America, it's gonna be at least 3-4 times more expensive. And then it's gonna take forever for you to get that.
Yeah, for sure. And just to share, Daiso is like a sort of like a dollar store, in Korea, except that it's a lot higher quality and a lot more variety compared to like dollar stores. It's super convenient.
Yeah, they did a very good job with quality control and then reflecting the customer demand in their products. So, for example, I just went for shopping to Daiso, but it's a different type of shopping I would do to Dollar Tree or Dollar General in the States. I just got a 25-watt not super fat, but fast charger for USB-C because the outlets look different here in Korea. And then it was only $3 that I got it for. And then like high speed charging cable will cost me only $2-3, whereas in States it may cost you up to $16. Or even more for a bigger charger. So things are way cheaper. I don't know if it is because of proximity to China, where there's the manufacturing center of the world.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and also the level of competition will be a little different. So, for example, like electronics, like laptops, cell phones are way cheaper in America because of the level of competition they have in the US. Here, Samsung, LG, they are the monopolies. So we do have to pay the prices way higher in Korea to buy these products, even though that's what the Korea is known for. Whereas in the States, I just got my Samsung phones in the States. I will never buy them here, but even they're better quality and a better price after all.
Yeah, and I remember you sharing on the other episode or in on another avenue, saying that there are certain types of Samsung phones that are a lot more, like price competitive. US. Could you maybe want to share a little more about it? What kind of the Samsung product was a lot cheaper compared to the Korea?
Yeah, I'm a Samsung user, basically. I don't have any iPhones. I don't use MacBook. And then I have my laptop Samsung. I have my cell phone Samsung. So, and I have my smartwatches Samsung as well. And then I just changed to S20 for Galaxy S24 for cell phone. I've been using S23 for the past 6 months, but I just got a new one because I wanted to give my old phones to my mom and sister. And then as I got a S24, I realized the stats or specs of the phone that I get is actually different from what you will get in Korea for the same model S24.
Really?
That yeah, it's American version of S24 was using Qualcomm Snapdragon chip, whereas in Korea they use Samsung's own Exynos chip. I'm not really sure how much of a difference it will make in terms of operations or longevity of the product, but I think there is a reason, especially in the American market where Samsung wants to be competitive. They use a better qualified chip to send out of the pack, whereas in Korea they didn't have to. They're just testing out their own model of the chips. That's my assumption.
Super interesting. It's like leveraging their monopolistic position and also, like testing the local market. So, like you mentioned, that's all based on assumption, but I think that makes 100 sense, 100%. Yeah.
And then they do play a very generous trade-in policy in America compared to Korea. So I got a new laptop in the States also like a month ago for $370, including taxes. This product will sell usually around 900 in America, and then will be much more than that in Korea. But there was a very generous trade-in policy at the time that will just give me or acknowledge $300 of value for my old iPad mini.
Mhm.
And then the market value of that product is usually $30, $40.
Nice.
They wouldn't do that in Korea at all. So I was able to just sell it off, send the package to Samsung, and then still got the laptop really cheap.
Nice, awesome. Maybe to Peter, if you don't mind, would you mind maybe sharing about your experience of some of the items, or maybe about the like cars that you might have benefited in terms of bringing that from the U.S. to Korea?
Sure. Originally, I was going to recommend Japanese whiskey, like Suntory, Yamazaki. but let me talk about it later. Regarding cars, yes, I brought Hyundai Sonata
Yeah.
from the United States. I bought it in the United States, and I took it here in Korea. And then, personally, I would not recommend it to do so because the only reason I did so was because someone paid me for the shipping cost, which is several $1,000s, I would say.
Yeah. Mm.
And then considering that cost, you'd not have any benefit from them from shipping the car from the United States to Korea. But in my case, the shipping cost was zero. Since my Hyundai Sonata was manufactured in Korea, that made tariff zero time tariff because it was made in Korea. So I basically spent a little bit of tax 200만 원, like
Almost
1,000. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, there was a huge unexpected cost, which I don't understand until now. For example, signal lights. It's usually red in the United States, right? You should change it into yellow if you know take it to Korea. That costs 몇백만 원.
Oh,
That's like $5,000.
Slightly more than $1,000.
Oh, okay.
And then I must have changed a car part, which I don't remember right now. And then that cost another $1,000. And then 취등록세.
Like a registration fee.
Yeah. So including everything, it cost me like $5,000. So which was totally not good. So I kind of regret it. So
Oh,
let's
I
talk
see.
about whiskey.
Do you do you feel there
yeah.
could be a quality difference you would feel using the
Oh
same
yeah. So,
data?
so in Korea, typical Hyundai Sonata is like 2000 cc in terms of the size of engine. I'm not a car expert, but it's basically the most important specification in terms of car's engine. Am I correct? Anyways, the Sonata that I bought in the United States was 2400 cc, which is way the engine is bigger, engine is larger, engine better, much faster.
And then is it still the same price that you'll pay in the States compared to Korea?
They say it's slightly cheaper in the United States in general, but the timing that I bought it was very terrible because it was in the middle of COVID and then in the middle of semiconductor shortage. So that made the general cost of cars, not only Hyundai, for every car manufacturers, the price range high rocketed. So I bought the Hyundai Sonata, I don't remember correctly, but $35,000, including taxes,
Mm.
which is really expensive considering it's a Sonata. Anyways, let's talk about whiskey.
Yeah. Please, yeah.
Yeah. So my recommendation is Yamazaki Japanese whiskey because during the COVID, the popularity of whiskey, especially Japanese whiskey, got really high in Korea. Do you agree, Re?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people started to, drink a whole bunch of different liquor at home being locked down, and people
Yeah,
started
yeah,
to,
that's true.
sophisticated taste that Japanese whiskey tend to have become so much more popular and thus became really expensive.
Yeah, Yamazaki 12 years. So, from the perspective of Century Whiskey, the company, they should have prepared this market volatility like in advance, like 12 years ago, because it's 12-year, right? But they cannot basically. So they made the demand go higher, the supply is stable. Basically, Yamazaki 12 years is it's pretty close to $500 in Korea, but the cheapest one that I've seen in New York City was only 170, which is less than half the price, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
So
Like this one.
it just really, yeah, it has great arbitrage value. So I bought 2 bottles of them and took it to Korea, and I gave it to my father-in-law. He loved it, and I'm still having one. So it's for you guys. So and come visit my apartment anytime.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I look forward to it. And I want to share a bit similar thing about wine as well. In the US, the tariff structure for wine is a lot different compared to the ones in Korea as well. So there goes pretty much the same thing, that wines in general are so much cheaper in the States, regardless of their origin, whether that's from the US, like Napa Valley, or from France or Italy. Wines are in general so much cheaper, and also there are a lot more varieties, and a lot more vintages as well. It's just that the market for wine in the US is just so much larger. If you are now in the US or going to the US in the future, I strongly recommend taking advantage of what Peter said as arbitrage. Take the advantage of price differences.
The recommendation will be, if I were to live in America again, I just got back from the States and I'm permanently moved back to Korea. And I'll probably bring all these smaller items that I wouldn't be able to buy so easily in the States. For example, charging cables, and then food products and stationery items, things like that. Whereas from the States to Korea, I would bring electronics. I would bring I'm not sure about the clothes, because I found the clothes in Korea cheaper than in the States for the same brand, same quality product. But shoes, I think, definitely cheaper in America. I can't find my size of shoes in Korea so easily. So it's always best to buy all these shoes from the States and bring them Korea.
I think for clothes in the United States, we have varieties options to select. Like there are a lot of outlets and like discounted brands like TZMX or whatever. They treated lots of outdated and outlet clothes. So there are so many options to select. In that case, maybe some clothes is much cheaper than Korea.
Yeah, that's a super good tips as well. And I just would like to add that if anyone's listening to this podcast, so you're probably either interested in looking for what to buy or like, what to prepare, or just want to, like, find out like price differences, whatever. Just remember that there are a lot of items that are actually sold in the United States as well. So surprisingly, like the ones we mentioned as the Korean ginseng. Like who knew that it would be sold very good, price competitive. So like make sure to like, do some research, because like items actually like might be widely available as well. And also look for podcasts like this on the YouTube, or ask like ChatGPTs and do some research, because I think that there are a lot of really great tips, including the ones we've shared today. All right. Thanks everyone for being with us today. This was it for Mainstream Podcast episode number 10, and see you next time.
Bye bye.